Right, welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join Hedgehog Lab in our webinar about iOS app clips. I'm Kathryn Wharton, Business Development Manager at Hedgehog Lab, and I'll be your host today. I hope everyone is well on this Tuesday afternoon. I am recording this session, so if you have any colleagues that can't join us, then we will circulate the link afterwards. But before we get started, I'd like to gauge the mood in the room. So using the Q&A box on the left-hand side of your screen, can everyone write a word or an emoji to describe how you're feeling today? Oh, we've got a smiley face. Everyone's feeling all right today? This is good. Brilliant. Hope everyone is still feeling the same at the end. So why are we all here today? So at the end of June, Apple hosted their Worldwide Developers Conference, the WWDC. You may or may not have tuned in, but the headlines were that there were no major hardware announcements, but there were many exciting software changes coming with iOS 14, which hinted towards Apple's future goals of launching Apple glasses and stepping into the world of AR. One of those software changes that will support Apple's future plans are app clips. We decided to host this session because we know that they can provide immediate benefits to our clients without the assistance from Apple glasses or necessarily incorporating AR. So again, using the Q&A box on the left-hand side, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about app clips? 1 being you've got no idea what they are or why you're here, and 10 being night before Christmas levels of excitement. Oh, we've got some very excited people. This is good. Again, hopefully we're still as excited towards the end. And hopefully someone will know what they are by the end. Brilliant. So thanks for taking part in that bit. Today we are going to cover what are app clips, how do they work and where can we find them. I will touch a little bit on the tech details. We'll do some scenario walkthroughs, and then we'll talk a little bit around the potential for augmented reality. To keep it short and snappy, we're going to bypass Q&As, but there is the opportunity to follow this up with a one-to-one chat with myself or one of the Hedgehog Lab team. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Hedgehog Lab, we're a global digital product consultancy that designs and builds digital platforms. Yesterday, I described us to someone as a company who solves problems with digital solutions. We always work with our clients to find the best solution for them using the right technologies. We pride ourselves on being in the know about the latest cutting-edge technologies, so that way we stay ahead of our competitors, which is why we always tune in to the WWDC. We know that app clips will become part of our future conversations, so we wanted to share what we currently know about them with the wider community. Curious, hesitant, and excited. It could be the gateway to awesomeness. These are not my words, but they're the words of the founder of App Figures about how he is feeling about app clips. Only time will tell to see if he's right. Firstly, the principle of app clips aren't a new concept. They are very much like Android Instant apps, which launched a few years back but didn't take off. For any marketeers, the easiest way to think about clips is that they are basically landing pages for apps. They are a lightweight version, a small part of your app that offers some functionality at an opportune moment. The ideal app clip experience will allow users to complete a task in seconds, to get in and get out as quickly as possible. And as a consumer, why wouldn't you want that? With the continuous evolution of mobile technology, consumers are used to having information at their fingertips instantaneously. So now consumers want the same with completing tasks on their iPhones. Clips allow you to share your findings with your friends, and this feature will most likely flourish in the FMCG space. So how could clips feature in modern society, and how do you access them? This is the visual that Apple used at their conference to introduce app clips. People will be able to discover and launch app clips in a variety of situations and contexts. Firstly, at a physical location, people can launch an app clip by scanning an NFC tag or a visual code like a QR code or dedicated app clip code. Secondly, on their device, they can launch an app clip from location-based suggestions, from Siri suggestions, the Map app, or smart app banners on websites. And finally, by tapping links of a share with them in the Messages app. You just tap open, which is obviously defined by the blue button, to launch the app without downloading it. The critical feature to optimize sale conversion is that app clips are compatible with Apple Pay and Sign In with Apple, which bypasses making an account or sharing credit card information. Users will be able to pay for parking, food, tickets, etc., and learn more about local businesses through clips. So my initial thoughts for one of our clients, LPG, and other tourism companies, which allow you to purchase passes to tourist attractions in major cities across the world. What you could do with app clips is roll out the QR codes, the app clip codes nearby these attractions, which you would scan and open the app via the clip and let people buy passes as they arrive at the venue location. Or through Siri suggestions or the Map app, it could pop up as a location-based suggestion. Other scenarios could include when you take your car to go shopping, to the cinema, out to dinner, and you need to pay for parking in the city. Currently, when it comes to paying for parking, I, like many other users, am more likely to swipe my credit card in the machine to save time rather than downloading the city's parking app, especially if it's not my hometown. Instead, you could scan a code on the parking meter, or the location-based suggestion could kick in and the clip pops up on your phone. In a different context, it could also be used to enhance post-purchase experience. So for example, a museum could have visitors scan visual codes on labels next to displayed artifacts to launch an app clip that reveals additional content, which could include augmented reality or provide audio commentary. And finally, think about how often you click the share button on your iPhone. This could be a great way for the retail, leisure, and entertainment industry to capitalize on impulse buyers. The day will return when you can book a ticket to a concert or sports event. You can do this via a clip, and then you can send the link straight to a friend to do the same. The ease of the transaction could convert that into a sale there and then. I'm sure we've all received messages inviting you to events, and you said you'd wait until you got home to do it on your tablet or laptop because it would be easier, and then forget about it or the impulse is gone. These are just a few of our initial ideas, and I will run through some additional scenarios later on. But first, we're going to get a little bit technical. So Hedgehog Lab has an extremely talented technical team. This is not my area of expertise, so I'm going to paraphrase a discussion that I had with some of our devs. So firstly, what you can't have is an app clip without a full app. Each full app can only have one app clip, and the functionality in the app clip must be fully supported in the full app. I hope you're still with me. The app clips themselves are less than 10 megabytes in size, which does create limitations if you wanted to get really fancy, but they're built using the same UI technologies developers use today to build apps, for example, like Swift UI. But as I have mentioned previously, using an app clip doesn't trigger the full app to download to the user's device. At this point, we think they probably won't work offline, so you will require an internet connection to utilize them, which could be limiting in some parts of the world. Developers will need to make changes to the server to support the associated domains. What this means is that Apple site associations power universal links. So if a developer adds the Apple App Site Association file onto the server, then it creates a link which auto sends you to the selected part of the app. After speaking to our developers, at this point, it is really difficult to say how long it would take to create a clip for an existing app. Even though in many cases you'd be working with existing code, to quote our developer Owen, I suspect the devil is in the detail. Programmers tend to make assumptions that a piece of code isn't going to be pulled out and dropped in a new environment without some additional implications. But there's definitely interest in them in the developer community because they will enable more entry points into your app. Hopefully it will cut down on the App Store download being a barrier of entry to the experiences, but there is the awareness that Android tried and failed with something similar, which I did mention earlier. Let's just touch on data privacy. It's a really big issue. This is a big advantage of app clips. App clips are essentially a way to run app code on demand, and they're restricted from tapping into an iPhone's more sensitive data. Plus, the system removes an app clip and all its data from a device after a period of inactivity. And as I've already mentioned, if you set up Apple Pay and sign in with Apple, then there is no need to input credit card details. So why should we care? How can it help your business? So I personally think they present a great opportunity for developers and brands to make their apps discoverable by users. There are currently close to 2 million apps on Apple Store. For big brands, it isn't as challenging to get consumers to engage in your app. But if you are launching a new app, then it is really tough for the majority of organizations. I've already mentioned how consumers want simplicity. They want to get tasks done on their mobile as efficiently as possible. And with the app clip integration of Apple Pay and signing with Apple, this is possible. So after brainstorming with the wider team about some alternative scenarios where they could be used, we've created some bespoke visuals to demonstrate this. So firstly, the restaurant queue skip. Obviously, this function is very relevant with the current social distancing guidelines. The principle behind it is that you could launch the clip from location-based suggestions using Siri. From here, you could open the clip, which allows customers to reserve a table at a restaurant, pub, cafe. There is also the opportunity to include additional business information. And then when a table becomes available, they are sent a notification. These businesses could offer incentives to customers if they downloaded the full app to make payment. For example, they could offer loyalty points or a discount off their next purchase. Another scenario is when a customer receives delivery of a fridge freezer or any other white goods, household appliances. Then they could scan a code on the box, which opens up an app clip for instant setup instructions, which could include video demonstrations. Additional notifications could deliver follow-up messages, which could include care instructions, troubleshooting tips, or a reminder to register your warranty. And finally, for any businesses who deal with renewals, like insurance companies, which may not be at the top of your priority list, with app clips, insurers could contact customers via messages with a link to their clip, providing a quick and easy way to renew their policy with an option to pay for their initial deposit. Again, they could also send follow-up notifications, including tips on the best way to protect your car, your home, your pet from requiring insurance claims, and just adding that extra customer value experience. There are so many ways that these clips could be used, and I would encourage everyone to use the follow-up one-to-one to discuss what could be the best strategy for your business. I am now going to deviate slightly, but stay with me because it is still relevant. So we've been keeping an eye on how clips support Apple's future grand plans, one of which is using more AR, augmented reality. Even though this isn't in Apple's immediate plans, adopting app clips could support a longer-term business strategy. AR is something that Hedgehog Lab have experience in, and will surely become more prominent in the future as consumers want a more immersive digital experience. On the face of it, this year's convention was all about Apple Silicon and iOS 14, but if you delve a little bit deeper, then there were hints of references to Apple glasses and AR. By piecing together some of the individual announcements, then there is a strong suggestion that the technology required for Apple glasses and AR are starting to align. You can think about all the individual elements as Trojan horses for an AR assault. So Apple announced app clips, which obviously pop up and give you little pieces of digital information, essentially. Location-based AR tools for developers, a spatial audio update for the AirPods, hand pose detection in Apple's Vision framework, and new 3D icons. One of the most impressive demos at WWDC was a preview of ARKit 4. ARKit is Apple's set of software tools for AR app developers that, as Apple claims, power the world's largest AR platform, iOS. You might not be aware, but iOS is an AR platform because the tech is still very much in its infancy, but this release is surely Apple making its move towards AR. The ARKit 4 demo showcased the kit's new location anchors. These location anchors let apps place AR creations like statues, game characters, signposts, buildings to very specific locations in the real world. This means that everyone in those locations, some of whom may soon be wearing Apple glasses, can wander around the same virtual creation and experience it in the same way. Something that we initially think would be great for the leisure, entertainment, and tourism industries. Right now, those location anchors are only available in selected parts of the US, and it is going to take a while to make it global. But iOS 14 is a big step towards Apple glasses and an outdoor AR experience. This could see your smartphone apps leap into the real world. Even though we get the immediate benefits, like being able to quickly pay for a coffee with app clip technology, there is a lot of discussion about how the ultimate aim feels more like they'll help launch AR experiences by scanning real-world objects. And just quickly, how do all the other features fit in? Apple is updating its Vision framework to allow developers to detect body and hand poses or gestures within their apps. And AirPods Pro have a new spatial audio feature that will bring 3D sound to your wireless earbuds. This could benefit an AR experience with your phone by giving you simple audio nods to map directions or working with Apple glasses. Combine all these features together and you get a truly immersive AR experience. Definitely worth watching this space. So just to round up, only time will tell if these are going to take off. But if you are looking to engage with users who want a seamless transactional experience, then I definitely think about building this feature into any future iOS app updates. Not only will they increase entry points to your app, but they are versatile across different sectors. And by utilising the connection with Apple Sign-in and Apple Pay, you can enhance the user experience alongside the benefits of data privacy. We don't know exactly what the future will hold in terms of AR or Apple glasses, but all the signs are suggesting that they are on their way. And adopting Apple Clips will be a great way to get into the mindset now and get ahead of your competitors. Me personally, I'm excited. So considering I work for a digital agency, my iPhone is pretty sparse with apps. I really don't like having to download apps that I know I'm only going to use once, especially when I'm traveling. The simplicity of being able to open a clip and pay for a product really appeals to me. So does the convenience on getting suggestions of where to eat or how to fill in my time based on my location. For me, this will probably turn into a sales conversion. And I'm also really bad at remembering to renew insurance. So a nudge through my messages would help me with my life admin. Going back to the AR, we think this is a great strategy for being able to offer immersive experiences in the future. It might not be relevant to all industries, but we think that there is a lot of opportunity for using the tech creatively that hasn't been realised yet. So this has been Hedgehog Lab's webinar on app clips. Thank you so much for joining me, Kathryn Wharton, this afternoon. I hope you found it useful and has given you food for thought. Please keep an eye on your inbox for a post-webinar feedback survey and instructions on how you can access your one-to-one session with a member of the team. Thank you for your time and have a great day.